Joining us here on the Anik and Florian podcast now, it is time for the award-winning Ray Longo Minute.
It's now time for the Ray Longo Minute.
I want you to punch a hole in his fucking chest. That's what I want.
The Ray Longo Minute.
Starring Ray Longo. The John Anik and Kenny Florian podcast.
And the great Raymond Peter Longo now joins us live from New York. Roofgate last week, Ray. Any update on the roof, the deck, the house? Please say you got good news for us.
Unbelievable. First off, Kenny, you're going to love this because I got a friend. So we do the podcast last week. Obviously, my backyard is, pretty well devastated. The chimney's down. And a friend of mine, the Hulk, who's a big fan of Kenny Florian's. I think that's why he listens to the show more than even me. But he was listening, John. John, why are you laughing, John? You think that's impossible?
I just love it. I'm the president of fucking Team Florian. That's why I'm smiling.
That was me laughing. I didn't know I still had any fans left out there. That's good.
Big fan. The Hulk is a big fan of Kenny Florian's, and I get off about an hour after the podcast. I don't even know it went up that quick. I get a text from the Hulk, and he goes, I just heard the podcast. I called Abe. He's got you covered. Everything's good. And within by the end of that day, my heat was turned back on. And within 24 hours, Lifetime Chimney, who's run by another friend of mine, Abe. They had this whole that the chimney was built. The tree was gone, all the thing. It was like back to normal. It was unbelievable, really unbelievable.
Ken Flo's star power expediting the whole goddamn process is what you're telling me.
And I cannot believe this.
Don't ever say I didn't do anything for you, Ray. See?
Yeah.
So you're on the list now, Kenny. This was huge.
Yes.
All right. Is freaking huge.
Mr. Longo, one day. Mr. Longo, one day I will call upon you. I will call upon you for a favor one day.
Yes, Godfather, I'd be there. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So who does that make me? Enzo the Baker? But I don't know. But anyway,
man.
So I cannot believe the job they did, and I was telling a couple of friends of mine, just even the professionalism and just the way he came over, and I can't thank the guy enough. But I was really devastated.
I know.
It was a shitty feeling, and again, you had to turn the heat off. The fire department had to come. They had to check for carbon monoxide. Yeah, it was like one of those deals. You didn't know what was going on, and that was it, man. But I'm saying by the end of Tuesday, back to total normal, almost like it never happened. So
wow.
He took care of that thing so quick that it never happened. So again, shout out to Lifetime Chimney. Phenomenal. Cannot go wrong with them. Absolutely blown away by what they did.
Great story. That's great that this little podcast, the Anik and Florian podcast, somehow can facilitate a gig like that. It's great, man. That's what we're here for.
Isn't that crazy? You got to remember, these are old school guys. They remember when Kenny was fighting. Other people have short memories, John. It's like it's not forget about yesterday. What can you do for me today? These are true blue loyal fans that remember those days.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's a great story about people, during this difficult time. And I'm sure, their business and other businesses are struggling. But the fact that they go out of their way to go out and help people, those are the kind of stories you just like to hear in these difficult times. And I don't know, I just love it. And Ray, I'm so glad that it all worked out.
Hey, co-star, co-star alert.
Yeah. I will. I'd send you the pictures. It was pretty bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That chimney got crushed right down to, another foot. That's all. That tree is on my head. So it was a crazy time. But I agree. In a time like this, where you're trapped in your house for a month already, and then to have that happen, and then to have people just not even that what happened. It was just the efficiency and the timeliness was crazy. He took care of that shit, which I thought would have, just to get somebody over the house would be a week. He took care of it so quick. I'm telling you, in my mind, it never even happened at this point.
Wow.
It's like that's how quick it was taken care of,
Great, man. Northeasterners, a bunch of fucking doers getting it done. By the way, did I just look down at my script the one time in the history of the Anik and Florian podcast that your daughter True just walked into the room? Is that what just happened, Ken Flo? I'm fucking looking down.
Yeah, I had my little CNN moment just now. My daughter, and then she snuck in there. Hey, honey. Yeah.
She's trying to get those pink shades that are on the table right next to you, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been looking at those the whole show.
I put those in.
And credit to TJ DeSantis, by the way. There it is. Beautiful. For getting that audio up quickly last week to make sure that Longo could ultimately get taken care of. By the way, Ray,
Ray needs to get on here. Ray, you just missed Kenny Florian doing his best emoji look with those glasses on. Like those were great. Put those back on.
Man,
this is why we got to get him on the podcast. We need video of Ray Longo here.
Yeah, TJ, call me during the week. Let's do it a trial run so I know what the hell I'm doing. But
wait, you're not going to throw TJ under the bus. You said you were not camera ready. He was ready to go. TJ was ready.
No, that was last week. No, I'm still not camera ready, but I think this week I was more camera ready.
Cut the lettuce.
Oh, no, the lettuce.
Get ready.
Can you imagine, John, what my hair looks like right now? It hasn't been cut in about 3 months.
You go get a pair of scissors, right? See what the wife can do, you know? You got a suck cut, a Flowbee out there, no?
You got the Aljamain flow going on or what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me tell you something. My wife gets a pair of scissors in her hand. She ain't cutting my hair with them. I'm getting stabbed in the fucking heart. Are you kidding? What's the matter with you guys? Man. Put an edge weapon? You want to put an edge weapon in a Cuban's hand? Are you crazy?
So a couple other things, Ray. Frankie Edgar, I believe, did an interview with the great John Morgan for MMA Junkie, and he seems to want this Aljamain Sterling fight. I know it was on the books at one point in time, or at least it was close. Any thoughts on Aljo and Frankie and how that might line up?
Oh wow, I didn't hear that yet, but that's interesting. But that would be an interesting fight. Look, I don't like it on the basis of I love Frankie, and obviously Aljo's my guy, and I like Mark and those guys. But other than that, it's a business is business type of deal. I think that's a pretty good fight for both guys. So that's pretty cool. But I never like those fights where you know the people and you're close to them and that type of shit. But I think everybody's kind of past that, I would think, because it was going to happen already, if I'm not mistaken, or they were talking about it. So, if Aljo's going to take a fight, Frankie's obviously a big enough name that if he doesn't get a title shot, I think that's a pretty cool fight for him.
It's a great fight.
Corey
That's
Sandhagen.
A great fight, yeah.
Corey Sandhagen took issue with the Edgar interview because he doesn't want to be cut in terms of getting that Aljo fight. But obviously a lot of huge names in that 35-pound division. We talked to Sugar Sean O'Malley earlier today. So we'll see what happens. See, Ray, for me, the fan in me, I want to see Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida go head-to-head with Matt Serra and Ray Longo. Like, I want all of that friction. I want all of that uncomfortableness. Just bring it all to the surface and may the best team win. See, I want to see it. I'm a fan,
Two biggest teams on the Northeast.
I hate to break the news to you, but there would definitely be no friction at all. I mean, that I could guarantee. I mean, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to cut it kind of short, but when that fight first went down, and Aljo, I was driving to Atlantic City with Matt, and Aljo called me, and I put him on speakerphone, and he told me, and Matt originally said he wasn't working the corner. He goes, I can't work the corner of that fight.
Wow.
And I go out, Joe. Let me talk to him for a little bit. You know what I mean? But he's so close to Ricardo that his gut instinct on that was that he wasn't working the corner. I think that changed, but that was his gut reaction. And then we kind of talked about it, and I think Ricardo's an unbelievable person. Really, what a sweet guy, and what a great head he's got on his shoulder. And Mark's a good guy. Mark's more hyper and crazy, but just another great guy. So I guarantee you, there's no friction. I mean, Aljo fought Marlon, that we didn't want to do, but so we've already been there. That was the point to Matt. This isn't the first time, we've been there, but Frankie adds another dynamic because who doesn't love Frankie Edgar? So that becomes another problem. Frankie's parent, Frankie's old man's a good guy. Frankie's a great guy. So that stuff for us, we don't look at it like, okay, this is business and you just do what you have to do. It kind of sucks, but right. That's the position we're in, and we would do it. So.
No, and I think Aljo might have intimated that in a perfect world, just being that close by, he and Frankie would train with each other and make each other better. But hey, if they're going to give you a legend, right, and an opportunity like that, Sterling would be wise not to pass it.
That's the key to the story, John. Frankie's a fucking legend, and just I'm looking at it more like that. Just for Aljo to have the opportunity to fight a guy like Frankie, no matter where he is in his career, is a huge thing. So. On that level, it's great, but we'll see what happens. I'm just finding that out right now, so that's pretty funny.
So, Ray, as we sit here on April 20th, I haven't lost anybody in terms of a friend or a loved one to the coronavirus, but that is not your reality. Anyone in New York, and yourself specifically, I know has been touched by this in some way, shape, or form, and you've lost a few people. New York Post sports photographer Anthony Causey, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
He passed away at 48 years of age. I know he was a huge supporter of yours, and I know his passing hit you particularly hard, as it did many of our UFC family.
Yeah, it becomes like surreal. He was a student of my partner in the fight promotions, Lou Neglia, for years, and I know Anthony's mother reached out to Lou and asked if he could do a motivational video while he was in the hospital, and Lou did. And unfortunately, a couple of days after, he passed away, and obviously everybody was devastated. And I hadn't seen him in a while, but I go back literally 25 years. I mean, because again, if he's 48, he was a student of Lou's when he was young, and and there's been a couple other students I talked to that had a really rough time. They made it, but they said the fatigue level was like insane. Like they couldn't. These are guys that were in shape. They couldn't take 2 or 3 steps without gasping for air. So it's in New York. It's just a crazy time. It really is. I think everybody's going through it, but there's something. I don't know. I think there's something different. I think we're up to like 15,000 people, something like that, and that's I don't know. It's 5 times more than the World Trade Center, and that was devastating. So it's crazy. But yeah, getting back to Anthony Causey, I mean, what I didn't realize was the outpouring of love. I didn't realize he was that well known and loved. I mean, when I went to look at the comments, I was blown away. Even with the UFC fighters. Yeah. And stuff like that. He had really, I want to go, I remember when he started out, like when he first had a camera in his hand. That's how long ago it goes back. So, time flies, man. And that was a tough one, man. But man, if you even go and look at Bruce Beck when he did the tribute to him, I mean, the guy just broke down crying. It was tough. So. Was a great guy, and obviously he'll be missed by so many people. And the first thing that hits me when I look at those things, John, is, man, I hope this guy knew how much all these people loved him. Because I went through that with the kid that committed suicide. The outpouring of love he got was crazy, and it was like, I don't even know if he knew he had this many people that gave a shit about him. So. Right. Anyway, it's a sad story, but I think, he left behind a great legacy because people, man, the comments were just nonstop and they were beautiful. So thanks for bringing that up, though.
So many, of course, he took so many iconic images, Conor McGregor among those, coming out and sort of wishing Anthony Causey and his family the best after his passing. But yeah, he posted something on Instagram like March 22nd, if I get out and beat this thing, the world is in for it, or something to that effect. And just unfortunate that he was never able to make it out. I just got a couple more things with you, Ray. I want to read you this quote, and I'll get Kenny's take on this first and then yours, Ray. This is from Joanna Jacek from the South China Morning Post. Thanks to bjpen.com for transcribing this. So this was Joanna Jacek, Flo, after her fight against Zhang Weili last month. They did a small medical procedure on my ear. I had a CAT scan. I had an ultrasound. I had an x-ray. And honestly, after a fight like this, I felt like every touch from the doctors and nurses, everything was so painful. I didn't want anybody to touch my body, and I felt like my heart was bleeding, like my soul was bleeding. I always know that anything can happen in a fight, but I didn't expect to be that bruised and in so much pain. And I was going to lead the show with this because she is just the ultimate warrior. And of all the accolades and championships that have come her way, the most decorated strawweight champion of all time, how about just the mental and physical toughness to just walk through hell and not fade over 25 minutes in what many believe was the fight of the year last month?
You know, listen, you look at that fight, and how it transpired and the damage that both women put on each other. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised of Joanna kind of being as honest as she is. She usually kind of keeps that pretty close to the vest there. And I think that, you know, it's an indication for all the fans out there that, you know, fighters, they do suffer. They suffer not only during the fight, but during the training. And the mind and the heart of a fighter is something that shouldn't be questioned. And, you know, Joanna has proven that before. But I think this is the kind of fight that kind of defines her legacy in a lot of ways, win or lose. She will always have the respect of the fighters, that's for sure, and hopefully of the organization for what she's done. But that fight alone really showed just how tough she is, and that, you know, fighters don't only deal with, you know, pain and suffering that night. It happens over the course of a few days. You know, I remember I couldn't feel my leg for like 6 months after the Aldo fight. You know, I like lost feeling in my leg. So there's things that fighters go through that people just don't understand. And you know, it's crazy that happened for Joanna. I mean, but you look at her face and the swelling that she had in her head and all those things. You know, I'm glad she's okay, but it's good to hear that honesty from her, really.
Yeah, I couldn't. Look, there's nothing you could say. I mean, if you want to be a fighter, that's the fight you should look at first, because this is the potential of what could happen. And like, again, that is a really great case for it's really not about winning or losing. It's really about just doing the best you can. And there absolutely is no winner or loser in that fight. And again, you're going to get, you know, the guys like, well, she didn't get the winning paycheck. You know what, though? But the dignity and the character she displayed and the toughness, I think, is worth more than whatever that check could be. And I know that might sound stupid, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, if she builds off of that, she'll be way ahead. She can make that up. But I mean, just the mental fortitude that it took to get through that fight, again, especially in hindsight, when you saw her even with the interview, and she's such a beautiful person inside and out. It was tough because you feel for her, and you know the fight game. We get that, but that's a really beautiful girl that you know, and you know, women, you know, they, you know, looks are, you know, could mean a lot, and her head was, I mean, she was unrecognizable after that fight. So what great news to hear that she's okay, and that yeah, you know, she's a fighter, and fighters express their feelings. They don't bullshit. You know, there's I always say there's no bullshit in the octagon. You know exactly who Joanna is after that fight. There is absolutely no question about it. So I think when you look at it in terms of that, it's a great thing. I mean, I don't think anybody could ever say a negative word about her. I mean, I think she proved exactly who she is, and she walked through hell to get to the end of that fight. And again, I think, you know, just seeing that fight and then going to the other fight, you know, which I got criticized as shit for, you know, that's part of the reason, is that we just looked at a display of people going for it, you know, at any cost.
Right.
And, you know, that's what fighting is, man. You got to put it on the line. And these people do suffer. I mean, it's, you know, it's one thing to be in there and, you know, you take a couple of shots and you're able to give a couple of shots and you know, you feel good about that. But when you're after the fact 2 months later,
right,
when you're still feeling lumps on your head,
right,
you know, your mind could play tricks on you too. You have to be mentally very, very strong to go through all of that stuff, you know?
7 weeks or so later, still has the facial bruising. All right, Ray Longo. Hey, thanks, buddy. Hey, the Longo T-shirts, by the way, have been designed. We're just holding off on the release until maybe the quarantine is lifted in New York. So the Ray Longo Minute T-shirts are ready to go, and hopefully for your sake, once they are up at AnikFlorianPodcast.com, they're flying off the shelves.
Listen, I got at least, I think I counted 175,000 requests for shirts, so I think we're going to go with this. Isn't that crazy?
Wait. It's amazing. All right, well, those shirts will be all over New York and likely globally as well. Hey, thanks for the time, buddy. Hopefully a better week ahead for you. Glad the roof is fixed, and we will talk to you next Monday.
Yeah, listen, guys, it was really great talking to you. I mean, this quarantine is crazy, but this is like my visit in prison, so I'm loving it.
No, it's great. This is the therapy. It's your weekly therapy. And if you're not on camera next week, I'm not even sure we're going to give you a buzz. So let's iron that out with TJ.
Listen, I'm 100% on camera next week. And Kenny, I just want to thank you again for the assist on my chimney in my house. You did a great, buddy.
That's all. Hey, listen, my next goal now is trying to find someone to cut that hair this week. If you any hairstylists out there that are fans of the flow, hook Longo up. Just bring a mask.
This is it. You have to make a request every week now for me.
Yeah. All right, it's the barber this week. It's at Ray Longo MMA on social media if you guys want to connect. Hey, thanks, Ray.
Take it easy, guys. Have a great one.
There he is, the Ray Longo Minute every week here on the Anik and Florian podcast. Can't be easy to cut hair when you're wearing gloves.